Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Zach, and whether you are joining us in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, or the nighttime, this is Preschool Storytime at Hudson Public Library. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, so this week's theme is reindeer. And to get us started, I'm going to give you my suggestions for the books this week on this theme. All right, and remember that I start different story time after this, so if you want to skip ahead, that's fine, but I always think it's nice to get some recommendations in, and these ones, as always, are available at the Hudson Public Library for checkout. All right, so first up, we've got The Little Reindeer by Nicola Killen. And this one has a really cool art style if you want to be able to talk about that one. It's all about being imaginative and playing as a kid, just imagining Christmas night and then just thinking about all the fun that you'll have this time of year. It's a really fun book. And you can see that the theme, it's a kid dressed up as a reindeer. All right, so we've got The Wild Christmas Reindeer by Jan Brett. Now, this is a classic one, and this one is all about Tika right here, who is in charge of taking care of the reindeer for Santa. And this one has a really cool art style. If you've never read a Jan Brett book, they're worth looking at just for the way that they are illustrated, the way they're set out. But this one is all about the different chores that Tika has to do to take care of the reindeer. If you like to talk about the work you have to do around the house with your kids, this I think is a fun one to talk about. All right, next up we've got a fairly old one. This one is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it also has Rudolph Shines Again. This is by Robert L. May, and this one is the original story of where that song was from. By the way, the original origin of this story is it was made as a jingle for a store. So the whole thing about the modern Santa design being from Coca-Cola is not true, but this one actually is from a store. All right, so next up, we've got one all about pretending to be a reindeer. Again, just like that costume one, but this one's a little bit different. This one is The Christmas Wombat, and this is from a series. And this is by Jackie French, and it is all about a wombat that is dressed up as a reindeer and then the types of hijinks that it gets into. Really fun book. All right, this one is a really cool one too. This is Last Stop on the Reindeer Express, and this is by Maudie Powell Tuck. And this one is just an absolutely gorgeous book. If you've got kids as well who really like doing the lift to flap things, but are ready for books for older kids, this one is a neat one too, because it's got some of those in here. So you could see a typical page like this one, and then they can open up a door and see things like that. I think there's another one on this page too. Yeah, here's another door. Yeah, so it's really cool how it actually tells you to open the flaps to be able to see into the next pages. It's a very cool book. All right, so those are my picks for this week. All right, so now I think if you've watched this, you know what's going to come up next. So before we get started on that, let's get started with our welcoming song. All right, so you ready? Hello, hello to you and you and you. Hello, hello to you and you and you. A big hello, a small hello, a hi hello, a low hello. Hello, hello to you and you and you. Alrighty, so now we've been sitting for a little bit, and that means we need to get some movement in. So I've got a magic die right here, and whenever I roll that, that's going to tell us how we're going to move. All right, let's see what we've got this time. All right, we got a 4, which means it's time to stretch. All right, so if you're sitting down, then get up. And remember, if you can't get up, then that is fine too. Just do what you can. All right, so you're just gonna stretch however you can. Try to reach your arms as far as you can out, or as far as you can up. Try to touch your toes, see if you can. If you can't, you might need to sit down to be able to touch your toes. Now, I feel like the little ones can probably reach their toes a little easier than the big people like me, but you can give it a try. Even if you can't, that's fine. See if you can stretch your arms behind your head, stretch them to the side. So this one isn't about moving really fast, it's just about getting loosened up just a little bit, trying to get some movement in before we tell a story. All right. I think that was a good one. I'm gonna grab some water here. All right, so I've got a short story for you today. And this one has been told in a few different ways, but it's the origin of, so origin means where it comes from, of a phrase that you might have heard people say before. All right, so I've got a puppet for this one, but also a prop that I have definitely not used for this before. All right, so once there was a fish sitting in a pan. Let's see if I can get the face. And that fish was cooking in the pan. Now, I'm not sure why they were trying to cook the fish when he was alive. That doesn't seem like a very nice thing to do, but that's how this story goes. So the fish was sitting in a pan, and it's cooking over some coals under there, underneath the pan. You'll just need to imagine those. And the fish is thinking, this isn't very good. I'm pretty unhappy being in this hot pan. And so the fish decides, what do you think the fish is going to decide to do? What would you do if you were the fish? So the fish is pretty uncomfortable in this hot pan. So it decides, I'm going to jump out. So the fish jumps out, and then the fish lands in the fire that was cooking it to begin with. So the fish is even worse off than it was before. So this is the origin of the phrase, out of the frying pan and into the fire. So what do you think it means when people say that now that I've told you that story? Yeah, so when people say out of the frying pan and into the fire, it means that they were in a bad situation before and now they've done something and it's even worse. So I think that's a really interesting one. Alrighty. Don't worry, my fish isn't being harmed in this at all. Looks kind of cute in that pan, actually. All right, so now I've got a craft activity for you for this week. So if you've never heard of this one, I think it's a fun one to do. It's called reindeer food. So it's pretty easy. I will just let you know what types of things you need to make it. All right, so this is a fun one if you want to have it in a bowl outside or to scatter it on the lawn. I think it's a really fun way. So this is you feeding Santa's reindeer if you are interested in doing that. So, all right, what you're gonna do, you'll take a cup of oats, so just plain steel cut oats, whatever kind you have, they'll work fine because reindeer love oats. But that would be food for just a normal reindeer. But I think Santa's reindeer, they're a little special, so let's give them something special too. All right, so then what you're gonna do is you're also gonna put in some sprinkles. Now I think that those really colorful, sparkly sprinkles are the best because they show up really nice when you spread them out. So then you're gonna put that in there. You can also add a little bit of sugar if you like, but I think if you add enough sprinkles, it's going to make it fairly sweet. And then you mix that all together, and then you can either put it in a container outside or you can scatter it over the lawn, and then that is the food for the reindeers to go and eat. Now, I will tell you, I know that some people will put glitter in these, and I actually recommend you not doing that because glitter is actually made of plastic, and you don't really want anything eating that. plastic is not a very good thing to eat. And even if they don't end up eating that part of it, then it'll go into the lawn and then the plastic will just get in the water. So you don't want that. So I would say a way better thing to do is to make that with sparkly sprinkles. So I think that's a really fun craft to do. Really just easy one to get done. Alrighty, so I think before we go, let's get one more movement in. What do we got? What do we got? All right, we got my favorite one. I always love when I roll this, even though it's the one that makes me look the silliest. It is number 6, and that means it's dance. So you need to get up, and it's time to dance. It doesn't matter what you do. You just need to dance. And you can dance however you want to. You can look just as silly as me. You can look even sillier. It doesn't matter. You just need to do some sort of movement. Are you a good dancer? I think everybody's a pretty good dancer when they want to be. Maybe you can make up your own moves. It doesn't really matter what you do as long as you're having fun. I always think that dancing is fun. Let's see if I can do. Yeah, that used to be my favorite move. I'm not very good at that one anymore. There we go. I think that's enough dancing for now. Alrighty, so thank you everyone so much for joining me. My name again is Mr. Zach. This is Hudson Public Library's Preschool Storytime, and I will say goodbye and give the day back to you. Bye.